I mean, that's what politicians do nowadays. They just buy America.
That's it, man. Lobbyists, man.
I mean, it's crazy. Like you to totally to switch subjects now. It's crazy to see like doing do your own research, right? This common thing to say, but how much money is invested in behind the scenes in any political party that you're a favor of, any political party that you back. Like there's undeniable proof that like pharmaceuticals and like oil company, like they'll invest in both sides. That way, no matter who wins, they still have an interest, right? Like
Yep.
it's not necessarily like it's just interesting to me that politics is so. I almost feel like it's just so heavily corrupted to a point where it's impossible to remove. Like it would be almost impossible to remove lobbyists and super PACs and all this outside funding from the United States government. I feel that it's like it just is what it is. But I don't know. You said it. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think it's like heavily ingrained. Like, right. Now to get rid of it, I don't know. So, apparently, like Trump is the opposite. Like, he doesn't like take any feedback from lobbyists per just people speculating. But then what that does is that whoever's in his inner circle is the lobbyist
I
by
read
default.
Yeah, I read an
Right.
article
So like,
about that. Yeah, that's interesting.
what was it? Cohen, I believe was his name.
Mm-hmm.
Took it was like $3 million from AT&T. I think was the company.
Yep.
Or like one of his constituents as funding. So like when you're that big, there's like as a company spend $15 million just for your vested interest. Like it makes sense on a company level,
Right.
but then how do you like resolve that type of issue? Like I don't think you can. Like unless you say the government can't take money from these companies, but then we're also heavily cutting what is the income of whoever it is, and then they should just be doing it for the good. I don't know if you could actually make it happen.
Well,
I
the
don't
whole
see it.
problem is that in order to get rid of these lobbyists and all this money, you need to convince the people that are getting the money and have the power to voluntarily say, you know what, I don't want this money, I don't want this power, I don't want this.
I'm okay at 55 G's.
Yeah, I like cut this away. So you have to convince the people that are directly benefiting from this to get rid of it, and that is so much like that. At that point, you're like, oh, now I see why it exists so heavily.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, it's crazy. Like, if you're put in a situation, and I think most people would buy how I would feel. I get all the way up. Let's say I'm making slightly above average. I'm at like a Senate seat. I'm making like $150,000 or whatever it is. I don't know what their figures are. Feel free to look it up. And I'm like, I'm making good money. I can retire like ahead of my schedule. I'm chilling. And then this lobbyist comes along and says, I'm going to give you $6 million to vote this pro point because I know it's going to swing my state and whatever it is. Oh man, I'm good. 174,000. I see that there. And it's $6 million. And you're like, okay, so I could support my family and my kids and my 100% my retirement fund. Like you know what? Maybe I'm going to vote pro big corporation and it might be a negative for the environment. What is like 2-year interval. But you know what? I might change my opinion there. And then you have 6 million. You're like, well, maybe at this point I might as well just take this 20 million from this other company to do this, or maybe take my investments from this company. Like, once you've already like toppled over, it's just the slope. You're like, well, I've already made bad decisions, like or negative United States interest decisions for what is financial gain. And I mean, that's why they always, pay out long term.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny that you mentioned like I'm gonna take this money. What a lot of these senators do with the money is they invest it themselves. And it's super fascinating. Yep. I didn't know this. There's a whole like subdivision of these day traders that purely watch these graphs related to senators and what they're buying and selling in relation to what like laws are being passed. And like it's kind of scary how similar it does seem to be that like, oh, we're gonna pass this bill that lets Pfizer be the exclusive vendor for the entire United States government. Well, they invested a lot of money into Pfizer before they voted positive for that. That's awfully interesting.
It's weird. I just see a $6 billion deal closing, and I just might have known it a month ago.
Yeah.
I just happened to move my money over. Who was it? There was it Nancy Pelosi? I think it was that ended up making it was like 18 million pre-COVID because she moved all her money into companies that ended up doing COVID care. It was something like that. There was like a big controversy about it,
Right.
and she was like, "Listen, I don't touch my finances," because she has an advisor that does that, and you
Mhm.
know damn well she's calling that advisor and saying, "Hey, by the way, you should invest in here, 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 here. Thank you." Because it's just
She's
a
like,
conversation.
have I ever told you the list of my favorite companies? Just companies that
I
I
just
just think are pretty cool.
I love them. I'm telling you right now, like something I met this great woman. She bought me some flowers and some chocolate. We should invest in them. I'm telling you. Wouldn't you know? I just made $15 million.
Dude,
Like it was something insane.
man, it's so sad. Like we laugh, but like it's actually sad how corrupt the U.S.
Mm,
government is. Like
yeah.
just
So
to its core. Like I mean, I would almost even say like, regardless of where you stand politically, like you could at least admit even that maybe some people in your own party that you support are pretty fucked up, corrupt people.
oh, absolutely. Well, 100%. And I know that for a fact. Like New Jersey's known as a state like when you discuss it on a budget scale, is
Right.
that they have terrible deals with what is construction and what is blue collar jobs because they're the unions, they have insanely high payout deals. Like they pay unions insane amounts of money. Whether that apparently that was like pre like 60s, whatever. I don't really understand the
Mhm.
time frame. It's pre-made, but um, they only make deals to be able to make more financial gain to pay out the unions. Like that's what they do. So like Christie was really good with the unions. Everybody here was like, "Oh, Christie's great. We love Christie." And
Right.
it's just paying out the fucking unions. Like that's all he's doing. It's like that. It's literally just to be able to move money from one bucket to another bucket to pay out his boys,
Dude,
so he
it's
can do whatever
all
the hell he
about the
wants to do. Like
money. It's
that's
all
it.
about the
That's
money.
it. Man.
And the
It's all
crazy
about the
thing
money.
is, it's all about the money. All that money is going to such a small amount of people. Such a
Insane.
vastly small, like the like, it's very, very few people that are just sucking all the juice and they just can't get enough, dude. They just want more. They just are so consumed by it. And
No.
it boggles my mind because I like personally, and I say this, maybe if I was in that position, I'd be just as corrupt. But from my point of view, at a certain point, like I'm good on the money. Like money only causes problems past a certain point. We were kind of talking about this
I agree.
in the pre-show. But I would be fine with like enough money where I have a house that's paid off, I have a couple cars, I can travel whenever I want, and you know what, if I want to eat fucking Taco Bell every single night, I could damn well eat Taco Bell every single
Yeah,
night.
fucking
Right?
right.
And at that point, I'm like, what? Like really? What else? Like, what else? Why do people desire private airplanes and these types of things? It's just
Because
interesting
it's a
to
power
me.
trip, yo. It's got
Yeah,
to be a
it's
power
just
trip.